First of all, I want to thank John and Sandro for allowing me to be on this stage tonight. I want to thank all of you for coming. I want to thank my family and my friends. This is my story, and I'm ready to share it with all of you. Most people, when they jump out of airplanes, they usually use a parachute. I've been jumping out of airplanes without a parachute for about 10 years. Now you're probably sitting there going, Mirella, why the heck would you do something so crazy? Well, I also joined Tinder. It doesn't get any crazier than that. I wasn't ready for social media or the dating apps or the craze of today. But then again, I don't think Tinder was ready for me either. Back in my day, you see, things were much simpler. We'd go out, we'd meet people face to face, we'd talk, have a coffee, we'd go to libraries, we'd go to coffee shops, we'd go to house parties and school dances and clubs. The clubs would open at 8, and my parents would be frantically waiting for me at 1 a.m., which was considered very late. There was none of this swiping right or left. There was none of this Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and instant messaging and direct messaging. There was none of that. Things were much simpler. People would meet and people would talk. So here we are in 2018, and I'm finding dating has changed a lot since then. I wasn't always single. I met my husband, Frank, in the summer of 1982. And on the first night that we met at a grocery store that I worked part-time at the end of the night, he told me he was going to marry me. I looked at this guy and I'm like, well, I'm sorry, what? You're going to marry me. Is that so? And he said, yeah, that's so. He was brave and he was confident and he was bold, but he was very good-hearted, very good-natured. 6 years later, I married him, 1988. We had a beautiful ceremony, and we had a beautiful life together. And we have gorgeous daughters, Felicia and Julia, who are here tonight, as well as the rest of my family. And we had stresses like everyone else, but we had a path, and we had a plan. And we were in it together every single day. We had loyalty, we had trust, we had commitment, we had honor. Some of the things I feel that are missing in today's society of dating and relationships. We had something very special. And we were together almost 30 years. 30 years. Lifetime. I was very blessed meeting Frank, marrying him, and having our kids. But as life would have it, sometimes you get hit with some tsunamis, and in June of 2009, Frank passed away. Suddenly, unexpectedly, he was only 47 years old. Nothing was ever the same after that day. I was never the same after that day. I'm a trauma survivor. I have dealt with depression and post-traumatic stress, feelings of emotional and mental vulnerability, hopelessness and helplessness that things were never going to get better. I've been stuck. I was stuck for a very long time. There was this dense fog that would never lift. And I would wonder, when am I ever going to see some light? Is it ever going to come? It put a strain on my kids. It put a strain on my parents. It put a strain on my extended family. And they reached out to me, and they've been there for me ever since without asking for one thing in return. Family is absolutely number one. As my mom once said to me, we lost our son-in-law, we lost our daughter's husband, and we lost our grandchildren's father. He was in our family for 30 years. How do you recover from something like that? So one day, I don't know how it happened, but it did. I broke through. I broke through. I empowered myself. I got up. I became very strong and fearless. And I take every single day as a blessing, every single day as a blessing. I'm grateful for everything. And I will never forget the life that I had with Frank. And I'm really looking forward to what's going to happen moving forward. I've gone through changes. I've gone through a rediscovery, a reboot. You know, like when a computer crashes and you have to reboot the whole thing? That was me, completely. There was no starter kit, there was no manual, there was no guidebook. I didn't go on Google to find help. I just went through it every single day. And I try to help everyone else who's going through the same thing, always. Because we all have a story and we don't know what people are going through. So here I am, stronger than ever. I'm not too old to go on a Tinder date, as crazy as those can be. I'm not too old to find my purpose again. I'm not too old to have a positive impact in this world. I'm not too old to do the things that I want to do and to follow my passion. I'm not old. And my life is still here, and I'm still here, and I'm blessed for it all. So, half the battle is me putting myself out there, right? There were days when I couldn't even get out of bed, but now here I am in front of all of you, and I'm really happy about that. The support that people give each other is unbelievable. It's all about being human and being kind. So, when the light finally emerged, and I put the darkness behind me, I discovered two things, really. The journey, as difficult as it's been, has allowed me to find my way. But more importantly, it's allowed me to find myself. Thank you.